All right, welcome everybody. I'm going to dive right into our content today. I'm going to do something that I love to do, which is I'm going to go to the whiteboard and I want to share with you what our topic is. Today, we're going to talk about that perhaps the biggest challenge or the stuckness you may feel in reaching your goals is not a product of your goals being too large, but probably, maybe, could be a product of your goals being actually too small. I'm going to talk about how 10x in an area of your life is easier than 2x. And I'm going to reference this new book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. You can buy this book on Amazon, although this is an author copy, so it's actually not out yet. It's going to be out next month. As I shared with you, I was in Mexico last week. I was at Russell Brunson's, what he calls Mastermind in Paradise. I've actually never been to it. Because I thought it was more for families and kids, but I needed a vacation. So my wife and I went. We had a great time. I love Mexico. Probably had a little bit too much tequila, if that's possible. And I think it certainly is possible. I didn't get drunk or anything like that. Don't worry. But, you know, my health is still important to me, especially at my age. And so we had mastermind trainings every day, sometimes in the evening. And Dr. Ben Hardy gave his books out, and he spoke a good deal about this idea of 10x being easier than 2x. Now, on a surface level, it seems a little ridiculous and maybe more about motivation, but I have just loved digging into this book because it focuses on some of the things that I really enjoy, which have to do with neuroscience and psychology. And also, as you go through it, and I'm going to share some of the basics of it, I'm probably not going to do a good job. So when this book is available, please get a copy of it. But I'm going to share with you what I've been getting from it, and even some of the changes and adjustments that I'm looking to make with bestseller publishing, and even in some other areas of my life, to help me to get unstuck in a couple of different things. So I'm going to go to the whiteboard. I'm going to move my camera here. You'll still be able to see me, but I'm going to move that. I'm going to go to the whiteboard and I'm going to dive right in. By the way, obviously, any questions that you have, feel free along the way to ask those questions. Again, this is the book. 10x is easier than 2x. This is a book that is written by Dr. Ben Hardy with Dan Sullivan. This is actually a Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach. It's a Dan Sullivan idea and teaching. Okay, so let's first do a breakdown or give some thought to what the progression of business tends to be and what our business may look like at its current stage. So in the beginning with our business basically consists of me, you, right? At this phase, you are the business. Now, you may not be there right now, but you have been there at one time or another. There was a time when I started bestseller publishing that I did near everything. When I was trying to figure out if bestseller publishing was going to be a thing, I still owned my financial services company. You guys know that story. I started BSP because so many people were coming to me because of the success of my first book that I used to grow my financial services business. I started to do it just to see if it's something that I could do. I did everything. I took the initial sales call. I did the marketing for it. I help people with the table of contents for their book. I help people with the writing process of their book. I help people with the ads. I did everything. I was the entire business. Now, very quickly, that had to change because as I fell in love with doing that, and as that business grew, I decided, well, I was going to let go of the financial services company. I was going to sell that, and I was going to focus instead on building bestseller publishing. You probably have a similar story in one way or another with your business, or maybe you are still at the phase where you are the entire business, perhaps as a coach or a consultant or whatever. And by the way, if you want to be there and you're happy there, then absolutely no problem. I am not telling you that you need to make any of these changes. I'm not telling you that you need to, or you need to be 10x to be happy. You don't. If this is not applicable to you, then it's not applicable to you, right? But maybe there's an area of your life where you really do want to make some changes and adjustments. I'm going to use business analogy and analogies. You can adopt that to any area of your life that you wish. Anyway, the next phase from there is where we have kind of a combination of you and the business itself. Okay. This is where we are in the business doing what we hope is our unique value to the business. This may be for someone like me with bestseller publishing. This is where I am involved in content creation. Maybe I'm in the process of writing a book, which I always am in the process of writing a book. Now I'm looking to use that book for speaking engagements and etc. Whatever it is, but it's you and the business, and you are in it and you are focused on it. Now that is not generally the goal of business. That is a point at which the business has grown, but it still requires you greatly to do your part. And in many cases, it requires you to do more than your part. The next step is the step that we really want to get to. And that's where there's the business and there's you separate from the business. This is freedom from the business. And from perhaps is a more negative way to put it, but this is the place where you have the freedom of intellect, the freedom of time, the freedom of thought to do more with your talents and your skills and your abilities. Okay, this is not, I'm not talking about retirement. I'm not talking about, oh, I no longer have to worry about money or finances. Forget all that. You could not have to worry about money or finances in the very first step where you're the business, right? You may be in the place where, hey, I'm doing fine. I'm making $400,000 a year and it's just me. And that's more than enough for me to do what I want to do. Fantastic. So this is not about money freedom. This is about qualitative intellectual freedom so that you can pursue the things that you want to pursue to grow your business or to grow an area of your life however you want. You have to separate yourself from the business to give yourself time to be able to do that. Okay. Now, we're not going to talk about all the detailed ways in which you need to do that, but this may be the 10x phase from this level right here. Maybe you're right here. And 10x for you is where you really do finally have freedom from your business so that you can invest in ways, not financially invest, but invest qualitatively your time into things to explode your impact on the world, if that's your desire, or to explode some other area of your life in a very, very positive way. To get to this level, this 10x level or any 10x level, what we're really talking about is the difference between qualitative and quantitative. Now, let me share with you a couple of examples and give you some food for thought, perhaps. So we've had one of the best quarters we've ever had at Bestseller Publishing. I think the best. In fact, from quarter one of 2023 compared to quarter one of 2022, and quarter one 2022 was really good, but we've doubled. So Bestseller Publishing has doubled. We've 2x'd, which is kind of funny because 10x is easier than 2x. How did Bestseller Publishing 2x double already a multi-million-dollar a year business in one quarter alone? You know what? It was totally quantitatively. It was about numbers. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is wrong. In fact, it is right, and it worked for us. All we did really was increase some of our numbers. So I started doing more workshops. You may have noticed that. I'm doing a live workshop now every single month. I didn't do that last year. In fact, I only did that maybe 2, 3, 4 times in the entire year. Now I'm doing it every single month. We've also spent more money on advertising, and we've really doubled down on using Publish, Promote, Profit in even more ways. We have referral programs set up within the company. We've done lots of things to increase our business. And we 2x'd it. We did it, though, in a very quantitative way. We did more and we got more. Does that make sense? Now, someone would say, well, Rob, what were you doing all this time if you weren't doing workshops every single month? And in fact, one workshop a month isn't that hard. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that I'm working my fingers to the bone and I'm working myself to death to double my business. In fact, I think there's probably a lot more that I could do. My point, though, is that it was totally quantitatively. All I had to do was more. I talk to you guys a lot about doing more in your business. I say to you, and you can find a bunch of different BSPU calls where I say, if you want to make more money, all you need to do is make more offers. That's really all you need to do. You have to find more offers in the marketplace for your current clients, past clients, or potential clients that they're interested with, and just offer it to them, help them, serve them. You don't have to be perfect, even in the way you do it. Now, does that work? Of course it works. It works in amazing ways. And so if you're at, this U area of business, and you want to grow it and you want to get to the UN business area of business, then probably all you have to do is as simple as make more offers to your marketplace and you'll make a lot more money. In fact, you might very easily double. But that's not the subject of our call today, is it? The subject of our call today is that 10x is easier than 2x. And it certainly is very, very different. So what is 10x then? If this, the 2x is really about quantitative, then 10x is about qualitative. What does that really mean? Well, what that means is that you're doing things in a new way and a transformational way. A new way and a transformational way. So think with me for a minute. Let's just play a mind game. Let's say that your business right now is doing $1 million a year. And let's say that you're working pretty hard. You're working 35 or 40 hours a week. You're doing all the things that you need to do to get to that $1 million a year. You're keeping a good part of it. You're at the place in life where, you're really doing pretty well. But let's say that for whatever reason, you want to go to $10 million a year. You want to 10x that business. Now, you know that it's possible to do because you see others with that kind of business in the marketplace. You see others with a business that's doing 10 or $20 million a year. And it's in essence the same kind of business structurally as yours is. But what you have to look at for yourself is, wait a minute, I'm already working 35 or 40 hours a week. I already have a pretty full calendar. I'm making my $1 million. There's no way that I can quantitatively work more, do more to get from 1 million to 10 million. I can't. Even if I could become 5 times as efficient as I am right now, I could not still do enough work quantitatively to get to that 10x. So you do that thought experiment yourself and you come to that conclusion. And so what then is the only other conclusion that you must come to if you still want to go 10x? The only other conclusion is I need to do things in an entirely new way. An entirely new way. It has to be, my business needs to be transformed, transformationally different than it is right now for me to 10x from where I am right now. Now, I used 1 million versus 10 million. If you're at 100,000 and you want to get to 1 million, it's the same, right? Because I doubt in most of your cases, in fact, I've always found it's a lot harder to make 100 grand than it is to make $1 million. Why? Because there are fundamental problems within a business that's only doing $100,000. Things have to be fundamentally transformed for you to get to 1 million. And the same is true to go from 1 million to 10 million, 10 million to 100 million, 100 million to 1 billion, that 10x. So we're talking about a true qualitative or transformation of your business being required. Now, why is that easier? Because here's the cool thing. The cool thing that makes it easier is that there are far fewer paths to go down to get 10x than there are to get 2x. So with bestseller publishing, again, I'll use it as an example, and then I want to dive in and talk about some of the mechanics of this. With bestseller publishing, I could have said to myself, you know what, I'm going to do a challenge every month instead of a workshop. Could that have gotten me to 2x? For sure. Okay, well, instead of a workshop, I'm going to do a 90-minute webinar. I may do that. Could that get me 2x? Probably. What if I just doubled my ad spend? Could that get me 2x? Yeah, I think so. I think that would probably do it. Maybe not. Maybe I have to triple it to get to it. In other words, there are all these roads to 2x. There are all these paths. And when you have 100 paths and you're not really sure which path to take, it makes it really difficult to figure things out. To 10x bestseller publishing, I can't do enough workshops to 10x it. I can't do enough challenges to 10x bestseller publishing. It's, in other words, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get to $50 million a year in revenue if that's my goal, right? It doesn't matter if that's your goal or not. The point is, wherever you're at, to get to 10x, I can't do 10x. I can't do 10x more sales calls. We can't do 10x more ad spend and think that that's going to work. In other words, so many of these paths that would have been fine for doubling the business now are no good. They're leading down the wrong road. Something like qualitative needs to happen within your company, within my company, to get to the 10x level. And that makes things simpler. There's no reason to be confused. Well, what should I do? Should I do more challenges? Should I do more workshops? Should I do more ads? Should I do more sales calls? Yes, no, you don't have to worry about any of that anymore, because 10x will just move all of that to the side. Let me give you an example that Ben uses in the book that I think is really cool. And it's a great kind of visual on what this looks like. So this is what 2x looks like compared to 10x. Whoops, I don't want to use red. Give me, let me just fix that. Okay. So this is a comparison of 10x versus 2x. Okay, let's call, just split this down. Let's call this 2x and let's call this 10x. Here's the thing. You know the Pareto principle, right? You have 80% and you have 20%. Now, of the results that you're achieving in your business, we know that 20% of your actions are causing, 20% of actions are leading to 80% of your results. Okay, we know that. That's just a fact. The Pareto principle has proven itself to be true. So if you want to 2x your business, here's the cool thing. You can keep 80% of your current actions. All you really have to change is about 20%. What did I have to do to double bestseller publishing in the first 3 months of the year? Add a new workshop in. That's really about it. Add a monthly workshop. And that was already something that was leading to a considerable percentage of our results. All I did was did more. I just upped it, quantitatively upped it. We're spending more money. We're driving more leads in. I'm talking to more people. That's it. Really, really simple. And that is a great path to 2x. Just change a small part. 80% of the rest of bestseller publishing can remain exactly the way it was. And by the way, this isn't just business, right? This could be, your current life, your current habits, right? Your current team. Ooh, that's where it might get kind of hairy, right? So all of those things can stay. All of it can stay, or the vast majority of it can stay. Here's the issue, though. If you want a 10x, this is where it flips. If you want a 10X, only about 20% can stay of what you're currently doing. And 80% of it has to change. 80% of what you're doing right now, 80% of your time, 80% of what your focus is going to have to change. You can only keep about 20% of it. And what is the 20% that you're keeping? This is the areas of your life where you're getting the biggest results, and you're going to go deeper in this area of your life. Now, again, we're talking business analogies, but this can be anything. This can be your physical fitness, right? If you want to 10X your physical fitness, and that might look like, I mean, some people that are diabetic and 100 pounds overweight, 10Xing their life might be losing 100 pounds and no longer being type 2 diabetic, right? That's a massive, massive change. Well, guess what? About 80% of how that person is living their life right now is going to need to change. It's going to have to be transformational, right? What their diet is, how they're exercising, how they're moving. Now, look, I'm not a personal trainer, right? Nor am I a dietitian, nor am I a health expert. And probably in most cases, you're not either watching this, but you just know innately that is true. You just know. To 10X that area of your life and to go from being 100 pounds overweight to not, and being unfit, diabetic, to being fit, non-diabetic, it's going to take a major transformation in that person's life. And only the best top 20% of what they're doing in their life is going to be allowed to stay. Everything else has to go. Well, guess what? That may be difficult to do, but the path is simple, right? It's a simple path. And that's what 10X allows for. 10X allows for simplicity in your business and in your life. Now, again, this may not, as you watch this, may not be something that you're greatly attracted to. When I first heard it, because Ben Hardy taught this. He taught this one of the afternoons. We had a private group with just the inner circle members, and he spent some personal time and kind of taught through this. My initial reaction, which was totally weird, I thought, but then somebody else shared it, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not totally weird. My initial reaction was grief. I immediately felt a little bit of sense of like loss. I was like, why do I feel that? And you may have to battle within your own kind of thoughts and mentality of, do I even want? Am I even committed to? Would I desire 10X change in this area of my life? Now, look, 10X brings a lot of amazing benefits, right? The primary benefit being freedom. That's what we talked about on the previous page. When you are free from working in your business constantly, daily, being involved at that level, now you're free to become more of your 20% ideal human, right? The thing that you love. You know how I do my 3 E's, right? I always talk about, look, you should be doing, and you should be focused. The time that you're spending every day should be focused on the area that the 3 E's converge. And the 3 E's being the thing that you excel at, the thing that you absolutely enjoy and love, and the thing that's earning your business, that's producing for your business the most amount of impact and money. That's the 3 E's and where we need to be focused on our time. But you know what? At the 20% level, this is where the 3 E's can grow to the point of like amazing fulfillment in your life, where you are literally stripping away the things that you don't enjoy doing and that you're not the best at and that other people can do. And now it allows you to focus on your true genius. Like like the thing only you can do, that you were made to do, that you were put on this earth to do, and the thing that you love doing that makes the biggest impact. So there is a great benefit to 10Xing, and it is from the standpoint of simplicity versus confusion and difficulty. It is far simpler than 2X. But it does require a serious commitment, and it's going to require you really doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on the top 20% of things that get you the greatest results in your life. So those are my thoughts.